Good afternoon, everyone. Today's service is going to be a little bit different than usual, although not too much. Tomorrow is Memorial Day, and I know Unitarian Universalists can sometimes have a challenging relationship with our military service and the way it lives out in the world around us. But today I want to invite us into awakening curiosity about how we engage with service members, with the memories of those who have died in service, and with what is happening with our military in the world today. So in that spirit, all of today's readings and music come from this little book, which I just found out is not in print anymore, but it's called Bless All Who Serve: Sources of Hope, Courage, and Faith for Military Personnel and Their Families, by Matthew and Gail Tittle. And this is specifically a Unitarian Universalist resource for military families and members. And it has an incredible amount of readings that all come from our sources and our traditions and speak to our faith. So I'd like to start us off this morning with a hymn that I sang multiple occasions when I was living in Chicago, going up to the Great Lakes Naval Base, where they train the soldiers. And I would go in and give a Unitarian Universalist service on Sunday morning to soldiers who were otherwise deep in the midst of training. And for many, this was a moment of respite, a moment to reconnect with themselves and their values in the midst of a training that was teaching them to listen only to authority. This song is familiar to most of us, but I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able and join in singing hymn 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And we'll sing, how many times, Bruce?
I'll go through twice just to get in the brain, and then we're going to do it as a round.
Okay.
That side
So,
will start, this side will come in next.
so twice regular, and then twice as a round.
We'll take second.
You can set it up. Oh, this side will start with you.
We're first.
And today, our reflection song is not There Is a Love, because it did not exist when this book was written. Instead, another song that I think is familiar to many of us, Meditation on Breathing. If you need the lyrics, they are, what hymn, Bruce? What's my number? 1009 in the teal hymnal. And please remain seated, and we will do this 3 times through because we're Unitarian, so everything's 3. In this little book, Bless All Who Serve, there is a reflection on Memorial Day. This reflection is aimed at service members, but I still think it's a beautiful one for us to share today. It's in 3 parts. It starts with sort of a blessing and ends with sort of a benediction, so we're going to alternate voices between the 3 parts. The first is from Daniel Butterfield, who is the Union General who wrote the lyrics for TAPS. The second and longest part is a reflection from Army Chaplain Floyd Vernon Chandler, who is a UU Army chaplain. And the last piece is from Reverend Wayne B. Arneson, who is a minister who served in the military.
Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh.
There are many stories about the beginning of Memorial Day. The first official observance was on May 30th, 1868, when flowers were placed on the graves of Union and Confederate soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery. Since World War I, Memorial Day has become commemorated as the day to honor all men and women who have died while serving in our nation's military. On Memorial Day, our nation pauses to express its appreciation to those who have served and who continue to serve in our nation's armed forces. On Memorial Day, we remember our comrades in uniform whom we have loved and lost in the service of our nation. We express gratitude for their lives and for their sacrifices, even as we risk our own. On Memorial Day, no matter our feelings about war, we remember the sacrifices made. May we honor the lives of those who have died, and may we reach out in love to our living veterans and their families, extending the olive branch of acceptance and respect as our faith calls us to do each and every day. War is horror. May we never use Memorial Day as a time to glorify military tourism or the killing and destructiveness of this human aberration we call war. We yearn for peace, and we pray for the day when nations pursue understanding over violence in resolving disputes.
In the holy quiet of this hour, Their names surround us, and they live with us in blessed memory. May we remain together in silence as a tribute to all that they meant to us. Now let us join together in singing number 391, Voice Still and Small. As before, we will have song leaders here, people at home, sing along, and we'll keep you muted. Please rise, embody our spirit.
I'm going to start my reflection by finding out a little bit more about who's here today. Brian, could I see up on the screen when you get a second? Nope, we can't. Oh, fun, Zoom. Always fun. So I'm curious, who in this room first is active military or retired military? You're retired. We have one. Roger. Thank you for your service. You tell me another time. Who in this room and online with us today has family or friends who have served in the armed services? That is just about everyone in the room. And Polly online as well. Who here holds the memory of someone who died while serving? Just a few of us. Memorial Day is a challenging service and a challenging time for Unitarian Universalists as we hold the duality of being a people who believes deeply in peace, with holding the love for the people who are serving our country, and holding some amount of honor and respect for the people who died doing that duty and service for this country. Often, in many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations, our military service folks go under the radar. But I have served both in lay and in ministerial capacity in multiple congregations, and of those, more than half have been in places where there is a strong military presence and where we have had active duty members in our congregations. Now, Minnesota has very few active duty military folks. but we have retired. But I still think it's important that we wrestle with the questions of how we show up together to honor that service while still holding accountable the actions of its leadership. The Unitarian Universalist Association on February 28th of this year reiterated its long-standing condemnation of U.S. military action against Iran. Unitarian Universalists have a long history as a faith and as a broader organization of calling out our disdain, our hurt and horror at seeing the violence that is enacted by our military across the world. That is not something that I think will ever change. We are a faith rooted in love, and the very act of war or violence is often directly in conflict with that vision of love that we have for the world. And yet, violence is a reality in the world. And religion plays a key role in how that conversation happens about the morals of the ways we engage in conflict with one another. That's always been the case. Sometimes religion has been used as a weapon. As in the Spanish Inquisition, if anyone wants to think of a big one. But sometimes religion is used as a tool to help us grapple with these big questions. There is a philosophy called just war. Has anyone heard of this? Just war? Yeah, I hear laughter out here. Some of us have, some of us haven't. Just war theory says that a war can be justified by asking certain questions about, is it legally performed? Is it in the justice, in the principles that we are saying we claim to uphold? Other people say that's hogwash and there's no justification for war ever. But the idea is to intentionally approach these questions. And I know I struggled with it today and this week as I've been putting together this service. The questions that came up for me are, does love ever call us to war or violence? Think of things like the Civil War in the United States. Would we have been able to abolish slavery without that war? Think of things like World War II. It's a question to grapple with, one I don't have answers for. If our lives are truly intertwined in the way that we talk about, are we really hurting ourselves more than we are helping when we enter into armed conflict and violence? The Jain tradition, Jainism, has anyone heard of this one? A few of us? The Jains take it to the extreme. So Jainism is the ultimate nonviolent religion. When you take vows, you take 5 vows, and they ultimately lead to disengaging from any possible act of violence. If If you've ever seen anyone dressed in robes wearing a mask, right, like a surgical mask, that's probably a Jain practitioner, because they don't want to harm the insects that they might accidentally breathe in. They go vegetarian and then vegan, and at the end of their lives, some Jains will actually intentionally refrain from eating so that they do not do violence and harm upon the plants. That's about as extreme on the nonviolent as we can get. I don't know any Unitarian Universalists who've gone that far. Which means we're somewhere in the middle. I know we often think of ourselves as a people who, or some of us do at least, a people who demand peace at all cost and nonviolence as the ultimate way of being. And yet we live in the gray zone at times. So how do we hold all of that big picture stuff with the individuals, the people in our lives whom we know and we love, the people who enter armed services for a myriad of reasons? Some enter because there is a tradition of honor and service that they want to fulfill. Others enter because it's a way to get an education that isn't available to them in any other form. Some enter because they have a family that needs care. And through the military, they can get insurance, they can get housing. Real needs. The fact that our society doesn't provide for those needs, that the military is often the only way some of these families can get those needs met, is something we can't just ignore in supporting our service members. Each and every person who joins our armed services here in the United States takes the oath of enlistment. Since 1962, when things were tweaked a little bit, they have said these words: I, their name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Who felt uncomfortable as I read that? Yeah, a number of us. I'm going to leave the second part out for a minute because that's a whole nother sermon. But the first part, support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Here in the Twin Cities, some of us in February and January felt that call. We still feel that call today with what is happening in our country to defend the Constitution of the United States, to defend the democracy, the human rights that we value both as a country and as a people of faith. It is not so foreign to us to find that same feeling within ourselves. That while we balance holding the current military, the current administration accountable, we can also hold that empathy for those who are serving and trying to defend the Constitution of the United States. And today, we hold those who have lost their lives in defending that Constitution, particularly those who have signed up in our military service. But I hold a space in my heart for those who are serving our country on our streets. While we may not have officially taken a vow and joined the institution, we hear the call. We hear the call to defend it not as a call to violence, but as a call to peace. We didn't have riots here in the Twin Cities. We had rides and food sharing and recording for accountability. We had showing up over and over and over again in love to try to find the peace that true community and care can bring. So on this Memorial Day, we hold each other and we hold that call for peace. I want to end this portion with 2 more readings from that book, Bless All Who Serve, from different faith traditions. The first is an Ojibwe prayer. The second are the words from Lao Tzu.
Ojibwe prayer. Grandfather, look at our brokenness. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided, and we are the ones who must come back together to walk the sacred way. Grandfather, Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor, that we may heal the earth and heal each other.
The Lao Tzu philosopher, 5th century BCE. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there's to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. And if there is peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So we'll go on for the next song. As before, the song leaders are going to come up so we can join singing number 83, Winds Be Still. People at home, you're still muted, but please sing along. So now rise in body and spirit so we can join in song.